Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to Coffee Talk, friends. Hello, Laura. How are you?
Great, Ree. How are you?
Oh, I have no complaints. Ready to tackle another week. Excited about today's broadcast. Not only do we have a special guest, we have a big announcement coming towards the end, so you have to stay with us.
Yep.
Laura, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I think, we're in the thick of it. I'm sure everyone who's listening can understand what I mean that we are in the thick of it. It's comp season, it's recital season. I feel like, Ree, this season in particular has flown by so fast. I look at the calendar, I'm like, we're halfway through March. Like, I got my summer schedule done this weekend. We had private lessons this weekend, rehearsal this weekend, but I just feel like it just creeped up so quickly on us this year. I don't know if anyone else is feeling that way who's listening, but I feel like this season, I feel prepared, but I just feel like the time and the weeks are just going by so quickly. But
I want to say week to week is going by really quickly to me,
yeah,
meaning it's Friday again before I know it. Now, I'm also
we're
exhausted like it's a Friday, but it came so fast.
fast. Yeah. How was your weekend? What did you do?
I worked for all of you studio owners out there who work on schedules. My job this weekend was not, I'd done the schedule for the conference,
Hmm.
but to write descriptions for the seminars themselves.
Ooh,
And it took
okay.
all day on Saturday to do DLTC,
Hmm.
about a half a day on Sunday to do Soul. But
Wow.
all the descriptions are done, the schedules are done. This is team week for Dance Life Teacher Conference.
Yep.
And I wanted that schedule done as we were promoting team week, and I
Hmm.
pulled it off.
Yeah.
But it was a work weekend, which I'm
Yeah.
sure entrepreneurs out there understand.
Hmm. Yep. Can you elaborate on what Team Week means for your company? What does that mean for everybody who's watching who might not know?
Ooh, okay, a chance to sell something, I guess. Um, Dance Life Teacher Conference. This is Team Week, so that means studio owners who bring four or more, a group,
Hmm.
their team, get $40 off per registration.
Ooh,
Going on from today the 17th to the 23rd.
nice.
And we're ready for you. I am a guy who believes that when you get the team on the same page, everybody dancing to the same beat, the philosophy of the school, you got a really good thing happening, and growth is so much easier. So
Hmm.
join us for Team Week this week and bring your entire team to the conference.
Yep, for sure.
I didn't come on intending to do that, but I should have been smart and came on intending to do that.
Well, I'm your sidekick, right? I'm here.
Saving me.
No, no.
So we have a special guest today.
Yep.
It's Vicki Wallace. And as I'm setting up for that segment here, I just want to say a couple things. So
Hmm.
I work with Vicki through Studio Owner Alliance, but also she helps to book seminars for the Studio Owner Alliance. So for the past couple of years, I've watched her expand the size of her studio. And as
Hmm.
we've talked, she's so calm and cool and making that happen, and tells me
Yep.
how cool it's working out for her. And then another year goes by. This year comes and she says, hey, I have an opportunity to buy a ninja school. And she goes, I'm considering it. A couple weeks later, she's like, hey, I bought the ninja school. And she's still kind of calm and months.
Takes a special person, Ree, okay? To stay that calm.
So I want her as a guest because I got to know how she does this without, you know, I feel like she's fearless. So we're going to learn some secrets for all of our studio owners and teachers who have fears. You're going to meet a fearless studio owner and it works for her. We'll be back right after this. Hey, Vicki, welcome. Ooh, you're
muted.
You're muted, my friend. Oh, can I unmute her? Says can't unmute you guest because they chose to mute themselves.
Well, as we're waiting, anyone can comment or who is listening, where you're listening in from. We're excited to have everybody here today. Thank you very much.
Vicki, we were just talking.
I think I did it.
You got it. You got it.
So no stress there either, Vicki.
You know, I was panicking on the inside.
Okay.
You couldn't tell. You were good. Your face didn't show it.
Oh, gosh.
In case you couldn't tell by the little intro that I gave you, I'm fascinated by you, your personality, and all that you handle. How did you come into all of this? Am I right that it was actually your children who danced and not you, or you were gymnastics? Tell me how you came into all of this.
Yeah, actually, I never had the desire to own a dance studio or anything like this. It was more, I worked at a studio and my girls danced there, and I just did not agree with the values that they were putting onto the kids and, you know, the way they made them feel. So I quit and pulled my kids from it. And just because I had worked with so many kids, I was more into tumbling. I was a tumbling instructor, I took dance growing up, but never to a competitive level at all. And so I was a tumbler, and people that I had worked with reached out to me after I had left the other studio and asked if I would do private lessons for tumbling, but I had no facility. So they would come to my house and I would teach tumbling in the backyard. So that's kind of how it all started. And then I just gradually grew. And again, I only did it because I felt bad that they weren't getting any instruction anymore. So I would take my mats, throw them out in the park, and I would teach classes 2 or 3 times a week. At the end of the class, I'd give them a popsicle. And, you know, it was so easy. It was really easy. But then winter came in Ohio, and fall, we had to move indoors. So I've just gradually moved indoors and then to a school and then to a church. And when we were at the church, my daughters were like, we miss dance. Let's start a dance studio. And they were only in high school. And they're just like, let's do a couple of competition teams. And I said, no way. I'm just doing this for fun. Well, they talked me into it. And there was an attic in the church we were in. And we just pushed everything aside, found a light that worked, put one mirror up, and they started teaching hip hop classes. And if I go back now to look at that, I would love to have a picture of my first dance room, because it was no air conditioning. It was dirty, dusty, and you had to go up these big metal steps, and parents were okay with that, and they couldn't go up there. And I'm thinking now it's like, what parent would allow their kids to go up in this dusty attic, no air circulation? But we made it work, and then we just kept moving on. And
around what year was that? I'm curious.
That was 2005, I think. 2004.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because we are, well, no, it'd be 2003 because we're in our 23rd year. So something like that. But no, it was a gradual start. And before I knew it, we had an actual business, and it just kept growing. And I think, like you said in the introduction, I really don't say no to something that I think is going to benefit us.
And where does that come from? I feel like some people, their first reaction to something new or change as a business owner is they get scared. It's, what if it doesn't work? But you just said your first instinct is to not say no. Why? Where does that come from, do you think?
Good question.
I honestly have no idea. I feel like
That's your answer. Okay, moving on to the next question.
No, I have, as I go along, there's always like, oh, I've done that. And like, there's something, one year I was like, I have never put on a full like theater show. So that was my next thing. It's like, I want to do that. So one of our summer musical theater camps, we do a week-long camp, and we actually rent a local theater, and we put on a live musical theater camp. And then they do a performance at the end. It's an hour-long performance for the parents.
Wow.
And so that we do every year now. But I feel like, I mean, I don't feel inside, but I think inside I just want to accomplish anything I can. And know I did my best at it. And that's why I have so many different programs, and some didn't work out like I thought they would. So
okay, that's important to say, because it's not always how successful someone is. It's how many things they'll throw against the wall and 3 land. Do you get that?
Yeah.
But every one of them taught you something that helps you to grow your business.
Right.
Especially, I feel like the ones that fail, because that's the one where you figure out, like, oh, did I not market that right? Did I launch it too late? Was the, what I put out, the flyer, not appealing? Like your mind starts to think, like, nitpick it apart. Why didn't it work? And then it makes you, I mean, yeah, we love it when things work out as studio owners and make us money and grow and become these incredible programs. That's amazing. That's the goal. But I feel like equally, if you're doing it right and you're taking a lot of chances, you can also look at the things that maybe don't make all the money and don't work out. And you can say, well, why? What was wrong? Was it a wrong time slot, a wrong day, not the right teacher? Like, why didn't that work? And I feel like there's lots to learn from that too.
Agreed. So what's your thought process when it comes to deciding what you're going to add, and then how you're going to process it through. Do you get that? Like, is it things
Yeah.
that enhance what's happening and you say, okay, this is easy? Is it same faculty and staff all over? How do you handle all of it?
Well, I think going in the beginning, yes, it was that. It was what can we currently handle with what we have right now? And a lot of it was, is it something that I would enjoy doing? Our very first program outside of just tumbling and then adding dance was we did have an all-star cheer program. And we did that for years. And that's, I think, what taught me a lot, because it was when I didn't know anything about all-star cheer. So what I did was hired someone that did know.
Mm-hmm.
And not realizing it, it was one of those things that I did not inspect what I expected. So I kind of let her take the reins, and she kind of drove it in a wrong direction.
Oh, interesting.
According to, our values and what we believe in as a studio. So that was our first split. And I was just like, okay, we split. Cheer went one way. I went the other way with dance, and just knew that moving forward, if we have a program that we are starting, stick with it and work with the director or whoever's running it and make sure it gradually goes in the same direction you want it to grow.
Yeah.
Vicki,
I think, oh, sorry, Ray, go ahead.
no, you go. Well, I wrote it down, so I'll remember. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that that's something that maybe a lot of people struggle with delegating, that they're scared because of that. It's like when you hand something over to someone, whether it's a director or a, position or a management position, I think us as owners, we always have to remember that we still have to keep our hand like in the pot, right? And like make sure there's like a clear understanding of like values, because for me, that's huge. Like at my studio, I'm sure for yours too, it's like, because you keep speaking about it, like the morals, the values. We have like a kindness campaign at Libra Dance Studio where we reward kindness. We talk about it all the time. So I think to me, it's like, I love having great instructors. I love bringing in amazing people with great ideas, but it's like, if you are one of these people coming in, it's all about the competition and the first place and the winning and the trophy, like that doesn't match up with where we're at my studio. So I feel like for studio owners who are watching, that's something that you have to really take in consideration when you're giving people maybe higher positions in your business, right? To make sure that, yes, they're talented, but like you're saying, they're on that same moral path of what you want your studio to be known for. I think it's really important.
It is. And I do know that that's the exact reason we did the split, but I always put it off as, yeah, those cheerleaders are a different breed of people. You don't want to deal with the cheer mom. So
I actually was thinking when you first started it, I didn't know she had cheer in her school when you first started responding.
Yeah,
But now I get it. I want to ask you something because I think it's important. As you're growing, you're maintaining your values. Tell our audience what a couple of those values are, the most important ones to you, Vicki.
definitely positive attitude, building confidence, and being like family friendly, age appropriate. We have ours, and our coaches have to be, someone that the kids can look up to and be a mentor to them.
I notice when we talk at other times too, you always call them coaches. And I'm a guy who's always said teachers because I come from the dance studio world. Is it your belief that the dance teachers are also coaches in your mind? Is that your perspective?
we have dance teachers, but I have tumbling coaches. That's why I've been going, tumbling was mine from the beginning, and I've always referred, it's tumbling coaches, but no, they are definitely dance teachers.
I got you. I thought it might be part of your philosophy.
Brand. Yeah.
Yeah. Mandy, welcome. Patty Neal, welcome. Robert, it says Nassau, welcome. Just want to say hello to you guys. Bring Patty up here again. What would you advise to a studio owner who has this concept or something inside of them says this will work, but then fears stop them? Got any advice?
Oh, just thinking back, I did a whole lot of analyzing and number pushing and everything before I actually pulled the trigger. My first instinct was, is it something I would enjoy? And is it something that would bring more value to our studio, which the Ninja absolutely did, because we have so many classes available for girls, and all of those girls have boy siblings that we really didn't have much to offer for them. So to me, having a program for the boys within just our studio alone was enough to run the program successfully. So it was almost a no-brainer, but with everything else, we definitely, you have to do your homework and know that it's right for your business, right for you, and right for your staff.
I didn't want to interrupt Laura. I felt like something was coming out, but she didn't want to interrupt me.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
Go.
I have a question. So just so the viewers understand, you have your tumbling gymnastics facility, you have your dance facility, and now you purchase this Ninja program. Now the Ninja program, is everything under the same roof? So how do you coordinate that if siblings now you can pull from boys, the girls, and I mean, which I think is amazing, because now the family, you're the whole brand for the entire family. Like that's incredible. And I feel like you had a whole market underneath your umbrella already to pull into that Ninja program. Like, so smart, so smart. But can you give us a breakdown of what that looks like for your facility and how that kind of works?
Yes. Well, we're in a strip mall.
Okay.
And so we were all the way like to the right end of the strip mall 4 years, and we had tumbling and dance together. We outgrew that, and I needed a bigger facility for tumbling. So we opened up another spot in the same strip mall, but at the other end of the strip mall. And so we had a dance facility and a tumbling facility. And it was just too much, because the kids would, have a dance class, and then they'd have a tumbling class. And in the winter, they'd have to get their coats and hats on, shoes, be driven, because it's, there's about 7 or 8 businesses in between, and the young ones couldn't walk that. And then it just got too much. So I fought to get it all together. So we did work with the owners, and so they moved all of the businesses that were at the end where tumbling was, revamped it, and added our dance so it was connected with tumbling. But there was a Ninja studio right there where they actually they moved him to where I used to be, so I could take over his spot to have dance. So now that's what I took over, was his, back down at the other end where I used to be. So now I'm separated again.
Yeah, but even just the fact that it's all in the same strip.
Yes.
That's amazing. Same parking lot. Like, that's amazing.
It is. But for 7 years, we were just so frustrated that we were separated. But our space was not big enough to bring the ninja equipment, and we had no room to add classes. So we had no choice but to take over his space. So now I mean,
Why don't you open your own shopping mall and put your
Yeah, really.
I actually almost did, and then COVID hit.
I thought you were thinking about doing that. I remember you saying that last time,
Yeah.
that something happened during COVID with trying to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, I want to ask if I can, because I'm fascinated by this. Tell me if I'm wrong on this first part as I open this up. That school, that ninja school, had about 40 kids at the time you purchased this. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
And so one time a few weeks ago, you said it was like at 150.
Yeah. It was at 115, and honestly,
Oh, 115.
Yeah, 115. I haven't checked it this week, but
I want to ask a couple of questions about that. Do you believe because that's your clientele joining, or is it attracting outside people because you purchased it?
both. It's a lot of our clientele. There's some of his past students that left because they just weren't happy with the structure and the coaching. And so we do have a few of those coming back, and we have a lot of brand new ones that really doesn't even know that it was something else before.
Wow.
And girls and boys, I'm assuming, yes?
Yes. We have one class that's just designated boys only. The rest are co-ed. And in the summer, we're doing summer camps, and most of them will be co-ed, but we will still continue the boys only camp because I think you can do different things if it's all boys.
Yeah.
And you can't roughhouse with girls, and those boys can
Right.
do it.
Yeah. I would think
the house was in my head too.
Yeah.
That was one of them.
Yeah, I was thinking wild when I would sub my all boys hip hop class. I'm like, God, it's a little wild. Like, just not in a bad way, but just the energy is a different type of wild energy with the boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they like that.
I remember teaching a class. I can remember teaching a class, and this boy was, I think it was a acro class. Could have been, it seems like too early for hip hop, but we were jumping around like hip hop. He hit the wall, and a huge hole in the wall his back made. And I know that lasted about a year and a half on the wall. And I know it's just because he was a boy and he just hit it so hard because he was, we're high energy folks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Vicki, do you have thoughts about taking it further? Are you, I don't want to say settling, because I don't think that's a good word. Are you stopping for a little while, or do you have a vision for the future? A bigger vision?
I do, but I do need to slow down. I'm getting to the point where I have a big vision that because we are in a shopping center, there is opportunity to grow. And I would love to have a theater that we could run recitals and performances. And I think I need to stop where I am. But that has been something for the past 6-7 years I've been wanting to do. It'd be a great place for, to just run rehearsals and, so the competition teams and recital kids could actually be on a stage and run things full out and understand staging a lot better.
Yeah.
But I think
you could do musicals and theater and drama. And I'll come run that department for you.
Okay. And I do know that's something that I could easily rent out to a lot of people.
I was just thinking the recital venues in my area, we're lucky. I have a private high school that I use because the public high schools in my area and public grade schools, They only let you go until like June 1st. My recital is June 21st, so I can't even book them. And then the amount of like studios in my area that need to get in there for dress rehearsal and for shows, like I that literally that concept just came to my head. If I were to ever buy a building, I would probably do something big enough that I could have a theater too, and I would have, not crazy, maybe hold 500, something like a little more intimate, not crazy. But I mean, that you can rent that out to so many, to the school plays, to,
Right.
we have local theater companies and like that. I mean, that's amazing. They're so, I mean, cheer could go in there, a local to use a big space like that. Like that can be used for anything, really anything.
Yeah, I agree. There's so much. And, it would be great just even for like some of our big staff events or staff
Hmm.
meetings and things like that. So, I mean, I've been wanting to do it, but I think Ninja kind of took that place.
Got it.
Okay. It's okay. And to be smart enough to know that.
Yeah.
So what's some words of advice for somebody who feels a little overwhelmed, is living their dream and accumulating or growing their businesses, but they feel overwhelmed? What's the secret?
Mm.
You're obviously a delegator. How many people work for all of your businesses?
We have 10 directors
Wow.
that kind of, manage all the different areas, and they do a great job. I just had knee replacement surgery 3 weeks ago, and today is going to be my first day back in there in 3 weeks, and they didn't even miss me. So you've got to get the
Mm.
right people in place and make sure it's something they enjoy doing. We have had people who I thought was in the right place in the past, and it was something they were miserable doing. They didn't like it, and it wasn't
Yeah.
their thing. It didn't come easy to them. So I think the key is really just getting people in the right place, in the right position, but definitely keep in touch with them. eh, You know, meetings, I would want to say weekly meetings, but they don't have to be weekly meetings, monthly meetings, just to know what they're doing and how they're doing and make sure they're staying on your path. But yeah, delegating has saved my life. It's
Mm.
How about processes so you can delegate? Did you write these processes? Do you put a person in place and say, I need you to write the process? I'm just curious about that.
We actually just about 3 years ago have really put our processes in place, and we had each director take step by step of all of their duties and write out the process of everything they do, how they do it, when they do it. And we've
Mm.
got it, in a management program so that we can track it. And now, because we do like adding Ninja, people's roles can change from time to time.
Yeah.
So it's nice that we have these processes to where if someone wants help with something, it's easy for them to see exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it.
Yeah.
Are the dance teachers crossing over into Ninja, or is it two separate set of employees?
They're separate. The dance teachers do not. Some of our tumbling coaches will go down there. They have been trained in case they need to sub or something like that. So
Mhm.
we have 2 guy coaches for tumbling, and they have been trained in case we need subs or something. And we are still wanting to hire some more Ninja coaches because it's already growing to the point where they're wanting to add more classes to the schedule.
Mhm.
But we only have 20 Ninja classes on the schedule. So we have room, a lot of room to grow.
Mm.
But yeah, but you know, the amount of classes we do in a week is crazy. So I kind of want to slow it down just a little bit because I don't want to overwhelm the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
In your non-ninja studio, what would you say is larger, gymnastics or dance, or are they equal?
They're pretty much equal and a lot crossover.
Mm.
But yeah, they're pretty much equal.
And do kids participate in like gym meets and like dance competitions, or do they decide if they're going to be a dance competition student and a gym student? Did I make sense with that question?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as I say, I don't want to take this any further with new things. I did just talk to one of our tumbling coaches, and we lose so many tumblers in the spring for sports. And they were just saying, you know, it's probably because they have nothing to look forward to. There's no end game, you know, or so we just briefly discussed, it's like we need like a little tumbling meet at the end of the season. And of
Yeah.
course, that's something I haven't done yet. So, you know, if we can get the logistics together and make it work, we have enough tumblers to put on
Yeah.
just a spring tumbling showcase just for
Vi-
tumblers.
Vicki, can I just add? I want to kind of take a step back. I love how you were talking about, and you said to Reed that just in the past 3 years, you put all of your systems and processes in writing, because I feel like that's one really important for studio owners who are listening who want to scale, because you are such a large studio offering so many different, now three completely different programs. You have gymnastics, you have dance, you have their ninja. So I feel like the reason why, in my eyes, you were able to take 3 weeks to get yourself together after your surgery is because they're not calling you, what do we do for this, what do you do for that? Like, you have your manual, look it up. But like, you had the time, you made the time, I should say, to make sure you have all that. And then just to take it a step forward, when the time comes, which might be never for you, but when the time comes and you want to retire and you want to hand this off to somebody else, it's not all in your brain. You can say, here's how we do it, and this is the number to take it. Like, it's this, the profitability of it is so much higher because it's a freestanding business that's not under your hand, right? Like, you have the systems and the processes in place. So I feel like in so many ways it helps you grow, it helps you scale, but then it will help you sell later on if that's what you choose to do, or hand it on to your daughters, whatever it may be. But it's also, even if you hand it to your daughters, it's going to make that transition so much better because it's going to be a well-oiled machine. That's why you can keep growing and throwing new ideas and trying new things, because it's so solid in the other roads that you already have, which is amazing. I think that's so cool, because I'm only in year 14 right now, and I feel like I'm getting to that point where those systems and processes are like getting in place, but they're not quite there yet. There's still some things that I know were in my head, and I end up having to put it in a long email, and I'm just like, just copy that email and put it in the handbook for yourself. You know what I mean? So like, I'm doing that now, but seeing how large you grew your facility, all the different programs, I'm like, I know it's because you have all that down. Like, and then you can have a life too because that's all
Right.
down, you know? I think that's really important.
Vicki, do you have a life too? No, I'm asking. I'm
I hope so.
mean it that way.
I'm getting there.
Because I know you go away with your husband on some weekends and stuff,
Good.
but I didn't mean to, like, I didn't know that question was so
No, and I knew what you meant, but like I've told you before, I think my issue is more of it's like I feel like I don't know what else to do. I get up, I take a shower, I go to the studio, I stay there all day, I come home, go to bed, and it's like I enjoy it,
Right.
but I am able to leave whenever I want.
Okay. I know that because we had a fun retreat in Florida a few months ago.
Yeah, it was.
Vicki, any final words of wisdom for those out there who are considering growth and just need a little encouragement maybe to take a leap?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that if it feels right, take a chance on it. If the numbers are right, if it feels right, I think that if you don't try something new and something different, the consistency of the same thing day after day can get really old, and we never get tired. We never are on burnout, probably from working too much, but not from doing the same thing over and over. So I'm all for taking the chance.
I think what you just said is this: good burnout and bad burnout, but that's another that's another episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, Vicki, you get to be a part of this today. How about I just play something for all of our viewers, and then I'll explain what it is when we come back. Okay, we're making some changes. I'm excited. We've been strategizing this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Today's a big day. It's our final coffee talk as you know it. Don't worry, we're not going anywhere. In fact, we're evolving into something even better.
That's right. Starting with our next broadcast, we're officially rebranding as Living the Dream. The live broadcast will still continue on Facebook and Instagram, though, just like always.
But the exciting part, by popular demand, is that we are launching Living the Dream as a podcast. Now you can listen anytime, anywhere on Apple and Spotify. You can listen as you commute to the studio or whenever you need a dose of motivation.
Yep. And with all this newness, we're also welcoming an amazing new sponsor, Jackrabbit Dance. We're so grateful for their support as we bring our new, even more inspiring conversations.
And we're kicking it all off with an incredible first episode. Our debut Living the Dream broadcast and podcast will happen 3/31, 2 weeks from today, a Monday at 11 a.m., and then we'll be available on Apple and Spotify. We'll be featuring Ashley Canturna Hardy, Ashley Litwin, and Heather Warner as we talk about balancing the family and business.
We can't wait for all of you to be a part of this next chapter with us. Same great conversations, same Ree and Laura, but even more ways to tune in.
I'm so excited to make this happen. Be sure to mark your calendars and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. We did it. Are you excited, Laura?
I'm like beyond excited. I said to Ree, I've always had like a bucket list of things I wanted to do in my life, but I didn't realize this was even on my bucket list. So now that it's happening, I'm like super excited. How about you? This is your second podcast, Ree. This is like monumental.
Well, I want to say something that's interesting about the podcast. Mm-hmm. I didn't pay attention to it until a couple of years ago. You know, I do it with Stacey Morgan from Australia. She coaches my Gold Alliance. She works at the conferences and presents. Very smart woman.
Oh, yeah.
But we just put them out on Apple and Spotify, and we put them up on our social media pages to listen when there was a new one. And about a year and a half ago, Stacey calls me and she goes, "Ree, go look at your email." And I went and looked, and it was like we were the number 10th podcast in a certain category. I'm like,
yes.
And there were all of these comments underneath. So I never paid any attention to it. And then it's been growing and growing. And sometimes I have people who say, oh, I wish I had time to stop on Monday to listen to the coffee talk. Why don't you make it a podcast? And I'd always answer, I do. Okay, that's something I'll consider. And we decided we're going to do it. So, yes, we'll be putting out the Regold's Dance Life podcast with myself and Stacy, as well as Coffee Talk. And it'll work so they rotate each week. So you'll have something to listen to. And I wasn't going to say it today, but I was going to wait until we did our first Living the Dream episode. But we're going to do a Thursday night episode once a month as well. So we'll have our 2 Monday episodes and a Thursday night episode. Thank you to all of our viewers who have supported us as Coffee Talk. We're excited to take you to the next place, living the dream. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Vicki. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.